girls are 11 and 6, and the boys are 3 and almost 1.
I have 3 boys and 1 girl. They're 14, 11, 8, and 7 now, and I've been in about 4.5 years.
Wonderful. Okay, so, Bonnie, we've had major discussions on this. This was something that each of you thought were within your heart to give back to those that are listening today. We love to build this business. We love to put the time and the energy into it. But with that, we're on our phones, we're on the computer, we're working very, very hard. And sometimes it's something we don't want to put it down. But we realize we need to be spending time with the family. So talk a little bit about that.
The mom guilt struggle is so real, and it happens to all of us. And I can remember a couple times specifically that stand out is my son has a best friend that he was looking forward to this birthday party for so long. I mean, literally we had to make the countdown on the calendar, and then the day came and it was every 30 minutes. Mom, are we going to the party? Are we going to the party? And I said, yes, we're going to the party. And we get there, and it's the end of the party, not the beginning. And it was like, just horrible, but I had just wrote the time down wrong. And I felt so horrible about it. Another time I remember my 5-year-old plays basketball, and it was practice, and I always watch the game and put my phone away, but during practice sometimes I'll answer some emails. Well, of course, the few times he saw me on my phone. So at the end of practice, his sweet little brown eyes look up at me and he says, Mama, did you watch me at all? Or were you just playing on your phone the whole time? Hashtag Mom of the Year. I mean, horrible. But the flip side to that is, if I was still working as a nurse, I wouldn't have been there for the birthday party, and I wouldn't have been there to take for the basketball practice. So in hindsight, I'm still always with my kids. It's just sometimes I have to work too.
Gosh, it's so real. I mean, every single day, even being here, miss my kids so much. But I specifically remember I had a makeshift desk in the office so that I could be with the kids and watch them do their homework and cook dinner all at the same time, And I remember it being like 9 o'clock, which is way past their bedtime for us, and saying, okay, guys, it's time to go to bed. And my 10-year-old at the time looks up at me and she's like, Mom, we haven't had dinner yet. It's like, oh my God. Okay, just go to the fridge and grab whatever you can find. And I think she had like pickles and apple for dinner, but it's just, they've had dinner every night since then. It's crazy.
I agree, the guilt is so real, and I think it starts the second that they're born. When you're in the hospital with them, do I send them to the nursery? Do I bottle feed them? It's so so overwhelming from the first day. And I remember one time, for me, walking in, looking a hot mess, and my little ones were on the floor with a bag of mini marshmallows, just stuffing their face, watching TV, and I just thought, I am really winning at this business. It's going really well. Definitely very real struggle.
Well, one of the things too is we're not stay-at-home moms, we're work-at-home moms, right? I mean, we work from home, and that gives us the ability to be with our children. So how do we set the parameters? I had French doors that I would shut and put a Post-it note on it, like, be back in 5 minutes. That means I'm on the phone. What are some of the things that you do?
Work outside of the house. That works well. And another thing that we did finally, because of exactly that reason, I was trying to do it all, and it took me to hit Ambassador to finally realize I have to take off Superwoman cape because I'm failing. And I can't be everything to everybody. And at the end of the night, I would end up with tears. And my husband said exactly that. You're a work-at-home mom, not a stay-at-home mom. Let's get you set up to be a work-at-home mom. So we hired a nanny and a house cleaner and just delegated where we could so that I could focus my time on my kids and my business, which are more important than cleaning toilets.
My husband, honestly, does that for me. He gave up his office, the room. We had a specific room that was his office, and he said, let's move you in there. And I will keep And then the kids will come up to the door and try to sneak in, and he'll grab them away or whatever. You know, like Mom is in the office, she needs to work. And so that's kind of been our boundary now, is if that door is shut, you don't bother Mom. But it took my husband setting up that boundary. I couldn't do that for myself because I was trying to do everything and be everywhere, and it was really I was really fractioning myself and not putting 100% of myself into any of them, which is not good. I would rather be a mom 100% and be 100% there when I have that time, and then be able to work and put 100% focus on my work at that time also. So that was really helpful for us.
I've got something funny with Megan. Megan called me one time and she said, I'm just trying to balance everything. I said, well, we kind of got to get rid of that word because that never works, does it? And she said, I just need to go back and hide in my closet with my pencils and my piece of paper and go back to building my business. I thought that was so funny. How many of you have hidden in your closets in your bathrooms?
Seriously.
They find you, right? They find you everywhere. No matter where you go, they find you. They can't find their shoes or their clothing, but they can find you. Yes, I made a lot of money in that closet. A piece of paper and a pencil. For us, I think the biggest thing was realizing, because I was a stay-at-home mom, and realizing I am a work-at-home mom now. This is a business, and it's okay to treat it like that. It was very difficult. I have a super supportive husband who stepped in and has very willingly done cooking. If you follow me at all, you know that was a disaster anyway. But and cleaning and laundry and all that stuff. And we just worked together as a team and came up with it's a new normal, and that's okay. We didn't have to keep doing things how we had done. We made our own new normal, and that really helped the guilt a lot as well.
Love it, love it. All right, so, how do you keep going? There's so many times that we've heard this several times throughout the last 2 days. It's so easy to use the children as a reason to build the business, but just as much as an excuse not to build it. And these are some of the things that I had faced early on too, is it's just too overwhelming, it's just too much. But I was having too much fun and really wanting that. So how could you relate back to that too?
Well, for me, I just got tired of corporate America scheduling my family time. So I got tired of passing my husband out the door. I got tired of missing the moments, tired of someone else telling me what my kid did all day. I want to be part of their day, not just hear about it. I don't want to get to their graduations, their weddings, and just look at them as grown men and go, what the heck happened? Because I worked your whole life and missed it all. And I want to look at those babies and say, you're never going to know what the word struggle means because mama's busting her butt.
So when my husband was in the military, when he was deployed, I think the first time, I only had one child at the time, and I was working, and he was gone all the time. And I just remember working full time, coming home, having time for dinner and bath and bed, and that was it. And I couldn't imagine doing that with 3 kids, and that's all I saw them for. So I was a stay-at-home mom, but I was gonna have to go back to work, and I did not want to do that. I wanted to stay home with those kids. I wanted to have that time with them. I wanted to see everything. That was a part of what kept me going. Another part of it was I loved having something for myself. I feel like I found something for me. Stay-at-home mom has always been my dream, and it's so fulfilling, and I feel like I was meant to do that. But it was also great to have something that was for me. I don't know why I'm emotional about this, but you do lose yourself as a mom, and everything becomes about everybody else. And it's a pretty thankless job a lot of times. And moms are the best people out there, you guys. Moms deserve so much recognition. They just don't get it, and that's okay. But it was great that I felt like I found something I could be good at, and something that still made a big difference, and something that mattered, and something that my babies could look up and see me doing and be proud of me.
For me, I had, when I started, my youngest were 2 and 3. They were with me all the time. And I was so committed to this business, as equally committed to them. So I incorporated everything that I did for this business was very kid friendly. I remember the first year we did our taxes and my CPA was like, Chick-fil-A, like, you're there every other day. You know, I'm like, that's my office, that's where we have meetings. Like, they go with me, they went with me. And my favorite thing looking back was we set really small rewards in place. And because they don't get diamond or mommy's working on a promotion, they don't get that. But I said, you know, mommy's gonna focus for 15 minutes, or I'd set a timer or whatever. We're gonna go get snow cones afterward. And we celebrated together every small thing, every big thing. And they were very involved from the beginning because my oldest is starting high school this next year, which is really weird because I'm like 25. But I'm so glad, you know, I look back and I'm like, I am so glad that they were so involved and that I didn't ever quit because he gets to go to a really great school because of this company, you know, so.
Yeah. You know, it's unfortunate, but sometimes we don't always honor each other like we should. You know, other moms, we can look like everything's going on great on the outside, but on the inside we're suffering. And I love what you said, Krista. I call it a dirty little secret sometimes because we shouldn't be depressed. We're home with our children, and that's what we wanted. However, we're lonely. We're really lonely, and we want to have conversations with other women. And I know that this industry I discovered over 20 years ago, and it's what gave me the ability to be home with my children, make unlimited income, and live the life that I wanted to live. But it's not like that in the beginning. It's hard, and you go through all these types of emotions. And so how have you battled some of those internal thoughts and some of the external thoughts that you get from other people?
As far as like the negativity that I would hear?
Yeah, you know, the internal thoughts that we get that come in, like, am I doing this right? And then a friend may say, I thought you were a stay-at-home mom, but I see you working all the time.
I mean, for me, any kind of thoughts I have inside of my head, I just tell the devil to shut up.
She got over herself a long time ago.
And negativity too. I mean, I've never cared. I've always just kind of been my own free spirit, did my own thing. You like me or you don't. So I'm probably not the best person to give any kind of advice on that. But I think you do just get over yourself, as Pam says, and know why you're doing it. You're doing this, you know, a lot of you for your family, and maybe it is that $500. That's what I wanted. I wanted $500. I just wanted to have more money than month. And then, you know, my passion led me here. But just, yeah, keep that why, keep that reason. And like everybody says, don't let excuses come in, because you guys, it's just so worth it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I think that it relates very similarly to how we parent. Like, we do everything differently. I may think that co-sleeping is okay, and you may think that, you know, it's the worst thing in the world. Nobody is wrong. Nobody is right, and there's not a right and wrong. Everybody has their own opinion, and it's the same thing when people give you their opinion about the business. There's no right and wrong way to live your life. There's no right and wrong job. There's a right job for you. There's a right job for me, and this is the right job for me. I'm not going to let anyone else's opinion. Guys, my parents still buy their greens at Whole Foods, okay? They still think we don't make any money in this business. It's weird. But you know, my kids look up at me and they see that I've worked my butt off. They've seen those late nights. They've seen that closed office door. They've seen me on my phone a lot. And they also know we're going to Disney World for an entire week. You know, they've seen that hard work pay off. They've seen their daddy come home from full-time Army. Even when he was home, we never saw him. Our poor son, when his dad doesn't pick him up from preschool at 11:30 a.m., he wonders where he is. And our girls lived years without him because he was deployed with the Army. So, you know, you just have to think about what you're getting out of this, not about people's small opinions.
From day one, something that I've always reminded myself, and sometimes I have to remind myself 4 or 5 times a day, is they're not offering to pay my bills. That's the bottom line. I don't really care what they say. Because they were not offering to get us off of food stamps. They weren't offering to get us off of WIC, off of Medicaid. They weren't offering to take my kids to Disney World and to Disney Cruise and put them in the school that we chose for them. So their opinions don't really matter because they're not offering to pay the bills. So sometimes, repeatedly throughout the day, and I get real hard on myself. I know we all do. I don't know if this happened to anybody else. It's gonna be super awkward if not, but like I'll show up to something and like some of these kids are so stinking put together, and my boys are like a month past for a haircut. I mean, I'm like, I really do have money to pay for this. I'm sorry they look like that, but it's constant. There's just always something like you should do this better. You should. But I've asked my kids recently about their opinions about this, just kind of uncoached, and all 4 of them, they think it's the greatest thing ever. They still don't really get what I do, but they love life and they have their mom and dad for everything. So
I remember, how they ask kids in school, what do your parents do? And so they would ask my children, and they said, and my husband was in the construction industry, and he always, Big Daddy, and he always entertained. So they said, well, he's an entertainer, and the mom, she doesn't do anything. So I guess that's okay, that I don't do anything.
Keep doing that.
I'll keep doing that. All right, so Bonnie, have you had the time of your life?
Oh my gosh, there are no words. There are absolutely no words. The thing, the fun, friendships, and freedom, I remember thinking, well, that's kind of cheesy. But it's so true. The friendships, the best friends of my life, the fun. We're sitting up here with all you beautiful ladies and 20,000 of our favorites, and guess what? We're getting paid for this. Like, that's crazy. Vacations, I used to have to request the time off work, pray I got it, and then we would charge it on a card and spend the next year paying for it. Last year, we took 8 vacations. We didn't ask anyone for permission, and we didn't charge any of it either. We just paid for it. So I love this time.
So worth it, you guys. It's worth everything. It's worth the late nights. It's worth your kids thinking you're on your phone too much. It's worth, those fights with your spouse you're gonna have when he rolls over and your phone is glowing in the dark and he can't sleep. It is worth every single second of it because, we were able to have a 4th child to complete our family. Now we have 2 girls and 2 boys. They're all perfect. And we're building our dream house that will be ready next month. And like I said, we get to take the kids to Disney World for a week, which has been a huge dream of mine. It's just as much for me as it is for the kids. But, it's all worth it. And we all work really hard to do what we are able to do, and we continue to work hard. We don't just get here and then go to Disney World. We continue working on our phones in the restaurant at Disney World, signing customers, in the line at the ride. And I wouldn't change it for anything. I have so much fun just knowing that I'm making a difference in so many other lives, and that I know that if I did this for us, I can help other people do that for themselves and their families.
it's been so incredibly worth it. I believe with all my heart that when you start doing something big for God, Satan's gonna be right there behind, just ready to get you. And I think for moms, that's where the guilt comes from, and recognizing that. And we look back, and I can't think of a single thing that I regret as far as with this business, as far as for my family goes, because we have provided so much for our kids, and we will never have to look at them and say, it just got too hard, sorry. And I refuse to do that. So it has been so much fun. I cannot wait to see what happens later. I think it's going to get even funner if I'm guessing right. But it's just, this whole business has been such an amazing opportunity and so much fun. But as long as you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you'll be fine.
I want to thank you three so much for being up here, and I hope that it has blessed some of you that are struggling with feelings of guilt, and that you'll just